All these events come on the heels of the president sitting down for an interview with NBC's Meet the Press that's still generating a lot of buzz. When asked whether he agreed that everyone on U.S. soil is entitled to due process in the court of law, President Trump said, quote, "I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know." He was then asked if he thinks he has to uphold the Constitution as president.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
Senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is in Washington. Ed, what else stood out to you in that interview?
Well, certainly that. It seems the lawyers need to remind him what his oath of office says, which is to defend the Constitution, but also his broader comments on the economy. He continues to sort of skirt around the possibility of a recession and suggest that one wouldn't necessarily be coming, and also made clear he's in no interest now of trying to remove Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, before his term ends, but certainly signaled that he will be out of a job once it's up. And once again doubled down on this idea that Americans should prepare for greater sacrifice as this transition period, as he calls it, into his tariffs continues. Once again raising that prospect, which, you know, may be his own justification for doing this, but isn't necessarily going to prove to be politically popular, most likely, as you never really have heard an American president in modern times at least say, y'all got to give up something in order to get my policy implemented, and it will ultimately work. Short-term pain of any kind, never something usually a president pushes for. So it was a notable interview in several regards, certainly on the economy, and then, of course, his comments not defending or remembering what it is exactly his oath of office says.
The president says he's considering 100% tariffs on movies made outside of the United States. He says the industry has just been decimated. How is this expected to work? Why is this a priority for his office?
Good question on how is this expected to work. And that is something, Lindsay, we know that lobbyists here in Washington and studio executives out in the West have been grappling with ever since he announced this last night, trying to figure out exactly what this would mean. Does it mean that if I shoot a film in, oh, say, Europe, but as an American company release it from here in the United States, am I going to pay a tariff because we sent the crews to, say, somewhere like Norway or Spain to shoot this instead of doing it in Idaho or Oregon or in California? Those are questions that are being asked today of the administration. The White House essentially saying they're figuring this out. The president just in the last hour at that event announcing the NFL draft will be here in Washington in 2027 essentially says, look, California and the movie industry writ large have allowed this to happen. They've got to figure out a way to do this, to produce more movies in the United States. And certainly Los Angeles, Southern California, where most of those studios are based, have started shooting far fewer productions in that part of the country and in the world than, say, parts of Europe, parts of Asia, parts of Canada, and even places like Atlanta, that have offered much more generous tax incentives to various producers. So it is something that has caused a lot of people here in Washington who work for the studios and a lot of people out in California to try to figure out today what exactly this means. Motion Picture Association had no comment when asked. And some I've spoken with today, Lindsay, suggest that this is rooted in an idea that came from the actor Jon Voight, who is a close friend of the president and a supporter of his, and is one of those that he's asked to serve as sort of an ambassador to Hollywood to help rebuild the industry, at least in California. But it's certainly roiled a lot of these entertainment companies today as they try to figure out what exactly this could mean and how much it would cost them.
Switching gears, Israel's security cabinet has approved plans to slowly expand ground operations in Gaza in an effort to capture and hold the territory. The cabinet also approved a plan to distribute humanitarian aid throughout the enclave using private companies. How is the White House responding?
Well, they're monitoring this closely because the president is supposed to head a week from today to the Middle East to visit Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Currently no plan to visit Israel. And of course, the possibility of Israel doing more against Hamas in the Gaza Strip or even potentially targeting Iran as this trip nears is very much on the minds of the White House. So we asked a little while ago, and a spokesperson there says that the president remains committed to securing the immediate release of hostages and an end to Hamas rule in Gaza. The president's made clear the consequences Hamas will face if it continues to hold hostages, including American Edon Alexander and the bodies of 4 Americans. Hamas bears sole responsibility for this conflict and for the resumption of hostilities. Nothing specific there about Israel's apparent plans, but reiterating that the president wants to see this conflict resolved quickly.
Okay, Ed O'Keefe, thank you.